should start recording. I think it's recording.
Recording.
Shane, has there been like any progress in the garden? Did you get the tillers you wanted to buy yet?
No. Well, I need stuff budgeted for that. So
Okay,
actually,
yeah.
while I've got you here,
Mhm.
is that something we can budget for?
Yeah, totally.
Perhaps as a collaboration with the garden club?
Yeah, of course. I don't see why we couldn't. Like, I don't see many expenses like being incurred this semester. So we can totally put that. I'm not sure when the fall budgets are due though.
Okay.
So I just
Well,
gotta.
and I can give you specs on exactly how much the timbers will cost and everything.
Yeah.
But it'll basically just make a nice little pathway that people won't fall off the hillside onto the ground. You know, it'll be a safer space for them to walk when they're dropping off compost.
Yeah. No, that it looks so like the pictures you sent, like of the like progress you already made, like clearing the hill or whatever, look really good. So I can't wait.
And Mallory has been fantastic. She's awesome. Bringing in like loads of dirt and stuff to fill it in.
Yeah. Yeah, she actually emailed me because I think she wants to come to this Zoom meeting, so maybe we'll see her here.
Yeah.
So
Hi.
also speaking of the campus, if we are living close to it in the next couple of months, would you like some volunteers for helping?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
You can't tell, but I'm looking at you, Annalise.
Yeah.
I can tell.
I'm like looking at all the boxes.
Yeah, I could, if anyone is in the area and would like to volunteer at the garden, they can contact me and we can arrange a time to do it from a safe distance and make sure everyone's working on stuff that's strategic for our overall thrust of where we're headed.
Are you guys working on stuff right now? Is that what, like, I don't know if I missed it because I just got here, but like, what are you talking about?
You haven't missed a thing. So
Okay.
right now at the campus garden, we're currently leveling the ground behind the compost collection area so we can get even more people to donate stuff to it or to drop off food scraps. But the real time-consuming effort at the garden is actually mowing it, keeping the garden mowed and accessible just for foot traffic.
Does the school have do they have people do that or?
They do for every part of the campus property except the campus garden, which we like that because, well, that's deliberate because we have a lot of special plants in the garden that sort of sprawl into the grass that we work with in all sorts of cool wild edible food ways. And when we have invited other grounds people to come in and maintain the garden in the past, it's been devastating. So we just have some really cool plants there. And not everyone knows it. What looks like a weed is actually like a really prized, like educational permaculture food crop for us. But okay, Emily, we're at 5 o'clock. So you want to get rolling?
Yeah. So I sent a link to an attendance survey that I want all new members or anyone who's interested to fill out, and I'll repaste it again because I don't know if everyone saw it before they entered. But it's just a really quick survey. It's like your name, your wash call email, your preferred pronouns, just so we know who you are and we can like add you to our list and everything of emailing. But yeah, so if you guys could take a second to fill that out, it's not long, but wait, I think I only send it to Hannah. Let me send it to everyone. There we go. Okay. But yeah, you can fill that out while we're having the meeting. It shouldn't take that long. But
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you actually. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. I think I went to like the interest meeting last semester before we all got sent away, so I never actually got to participate in anything. I think, would I have to do that if I already filled in some of the stuff like from last time?
Oh no, you should be good. Are you like in the email group? Like, have you been getting emails?
I get so many. I think so. I'll check my group me because you know if isn't it like if you're inactive in a group me it like kicks you out or something.
Oh yeah, it might. And I also have to
I'm not
figure out
sure.
how to add new people to group me, so we'll
Oh wait,
get
no,
there.
I got it. I just got a notification for the. Never mind, I'm good.
Okay, then you don't really have to fill it out. You're fine. Okay, so let me share my screen because I prepared a PowerPoint for everyone. And if anyone wants to ask a question or talk, feel free to unmute. I don't really mind being interrupted at all. Okay, so this is the composting team. Welcome, guys. I'm glad to see you all. A lot of new faces, a lot of freshmen. I'm glad to see that. Let me full screen this. Okay, so just some background. We started in around 2018 and we're still going on. These are our club officers. So I'm Emily Hurley, I'm the president. And we also have Annalise Bush, she's our vice president. Samantha Robinson's our treasurer. Ariana Horan is our secretary, and Kitri Post is our historian. So if you wanted to contact any of us, here's like our wash call email. And you can also, once we add everyone to the group me, you can just message anyone in there. Feel free to do so. But yeah. And what are we? So basically our mission as a group, we first started off as like a small, like 4-person group working with the old sustainability director, Greg Farley, who's gone now. He moved to a different college, and a private entrepreneur. And basically our goal of the project was try to just research composting and see if it could be lucrative on the Eastern Shore, because the entrepreneur was interested in starting like a composting facility. But it kind of evolved into this club because we wanted to reach WAC in the most widest and most effective like format, and we decided like a club would be the best way to do this. And so we applied to become a special interest group last semester, and we were successful. And this semester we're going to have to apply to become a full-fledged club, which means we get more funding, so that's cool. Right now we have a little bit of funding, and we work a lot with the gardening club to help us like boost our fundings so we can fund more projects. And our goal as an interest group in a club is to empower people like on campus to live a more sustainable life. Like I know most people, I certainly hadn't heard of composting before like I joined the project, or before like Annalise approached me and started talking about it. She's the one who like got me into this group. And I feel like the more we educate people and empower them to actually live a more sustainable and eco-friendly life, it could benefit them in like many ways. And it could benefit the college as well. And we'll talk about how it benefits people later, but that's our main goal as a club. And we also educate people. So if you join this club thinking, oh, I want to learn how to compost for myself, you will learn how to do that. This is just our main overarching goal as a part of the college. So this is just our mission statement to be more clear about our goals. We want to educate students about the benefits of composting, which includes reducing cost and CO2 emissions created by the campus. And this is specifically talking about like campus food waste emissions. Like we fill a lot of dump trucks every week with food waste, and that produces a lot of CO2 and carbon emissions. And by effectively keeping these food waste out of landfills, we're reducing both like the amount of items in the landfill and the CO2 emissions caused by the dump trucks. And we also want to foster a culture of sustainability, which is the most important part, I think, about our mission. Like, even if we tell people to recycle or tell people to compost and tell people to reduce their emissions, they're not going to actually listen to us unless they understand where we're coming from and they understand the reasoning and our philosophy behind our actions. So I think we also have to foster this inclusive culture of sustainability. And we can do that through like eco-awareness and events and activities. So why are we so passionate about compost? You may think it's like a really niche thing to be so passionate about. And I would agree with you, but I think there's like really great benefits to composting that not a lot of people know about. And basically, if you don't know what composting is a process where we try to break down food waste and other biodegradable items in a more efficient and environmentally friendly way. There's aerobic composting, which means that the compost has access to oxygen and it breaks down into the chemical carbon and CO2, which is way more environmentally friendly than anaerobic composting, which is just letting like a static dirt pile sit in your backyard for months and it breaks down into like methane, which is way worse for the environment. So there's different composting like types, and we're trying to achieve aerobic composting because it's better for the environment. And composting also breaks down this food waste into digestible nutrients. So it's basically just fertilizer, which is really great because I know last semester, our former president had like a worm composting bin, and they used the casings and the liquid that came from the worm composting, which is called vermicomposting, and they were actually able to like make it into like a jar of fertilizer, which they could use on their plants. And I found that really interesting because not only did they reduce their waste, they also got like a product, and they were looking into selling that, but because of coronavirus, we kind of had to stop our efforts into like trying to make like a tent or trying to sell the compost at the farmer's market, which was our goal. But we had to put that on hold. But I hope once we come back in the spring, we could do that eventually. And composting also saves a lot of money. If you don't know, like trash cans are really expensive and you don't want to buy more trash cans just because you're producing a lot of trash. And composting is a way to produce less trash. And so you don't have to pay more for like trash bags and trash cans. And this graphic, I actually created this like last year to try to advertise composting for the college. And if you want like an access to it, like just the PNG, I can give it to you. And it kind of shows like what I learned in this club and how I applied it. So I actually like applied my creativity skills and my knowledge to make this infographic, which I'm pretty proud of. So here's a little video I wanted to watch with you guys. I don't know how Zoom handles videos that well, but I think this will kind of, it's a very good encapsulating video. And if it's not working, just tell me. I'll just send a link to everyone.
Today, I'm on a mission to find out how my old food gets turned into compost. I'm Lucy Biggers, and this is One Small Step. According to the EPA, every year, food accounts for 20% of what Americans throw away. This is a huge issue because food and other organic materials like paper towels and landfills cause 15% of methane gas emissions in the US and are a major cause of climate change. Your leftover food doesn't have to end up at a landfill. Instead, you can give it a second life as compost, aka natural fertilizer for plants. I wanted to find out how this works, so I decided to follow my own food scraps. For about a month, I've been collecting my old scraps and keeping them in my freezer so they don't smell. These are the old scraps that I've been keeping in my freezer. You can see eggshells, tea bags, tops of peppers, all these things are compostable, and today I'm going to drop them off and compost them. If you don't live in a city, you can compost in your backyard by getting a big composting container. Search online to see what works best for you. If you're in a city, you can keep your scraps in your freezer or get a small container to keep inside your house or apartment. Check if you're covered by a curbside collection program or a food scraps drop-off program. Today, I'm taking my waste to a food scraps drop-off site in Union Square. New York's Department of Sanitation and partner groups run 60 food scrap drop-off sites covering 3.9 million New York residents. Most locations are open 1 to 3 days per week. After adding my food to the collection barrels, I'm ready to follow them to the compost processing site.
These barrels are full. We're gonna cap them up and we're gonna put them in the truck. So then we'll head to the site.
The NYC Compost Project and the Lower East Side Ecology Center have been turning New Yorkers' food scraps into compost on a 1-acre plot in Lower Manhattan for over 20 years.
We accept vegetarian food waste, fruits, vegetables, eggshells, coffee grounds, tea bags. We do not accept any oily, prepared foods, meats, cheeses, none of that stuff.
And why is that?
Because the composting process that we use here is not to the scale that it can break down the pathogens that are present in the meats and prepared foods.
Each week, they handle around 8 tons of food scraps. And that's just a tiny fraction of the over 14,000 tons of food New York residents throw in the trash every week. After food scraps arrive at the site, they're transported into bins and combined with sawdust. Composting requires two types of materials. Browns, like the sawdust, are high in carbon. Greens, like my food scraps, are high in nitrogen. Compost piles need a proper mix of both to properly break down.
Basically, composting, you're creating this ecosystem for the bacteria and fungi to do the work that they're built to do, and that's the decomposition process.
The bins protect the material from pests as liquid drains off and the decomposition process is kick-started. Then after 2 weeks, the decomposing food is moved to big, long piles called windrows. The windrow's long shape allows oxygen to better reach the decomposing material and creates ideal conditions for the scraps to break down. For the next 2 to 3 months, the piles are turned over every week so that oxygen can reach the decomposing soil. The final phase, the compost sits for 1 to 2 months in a process called curing. This period allows the pile to cool down and to become even more rich with fungi, bacteria, and nutrients that plants love. After curing, the compost is sent through a screen so that only small, fine pieces are left. Anything that's not compostable will remain as garbage at the end of the process.
I hate these. They're fruit stickers. They're everywhere in our compost process. So if you're composting, take off your fruit stickers before you put it in a compost bin.
Based on the outside temperature, the full composting process takes about 4 to 6 months. The NYC Compost Project gives away or sells the final compost back to residents or to the city.
We take our finished compost and we add it to tree beds across New York City to help rebuild the health of trees. One of our strong missions is to rebuild New York City soil. And so by collecting New Yorkers' food scraps, we're able to produce compost to rebuild the soil in the city.
The EPA estimates about 5% of U.S. food gets composted. Despite that current low rate, composting programs are on the rise across the U.S. It's estimated 6.7 million U.S. households have access to a compost drop-off program like the one I use in New York City. And curbside collection programs have risen by 87% since 2014. That same year, New York City launched the nation's largest compost curbside pickup program. So far, around 3.3 million New York residents are covered by the curbside program. Hopefully, my neighborhood will be covered soon. Keeping food out of landfills is an important part of the fight against climate change. When food scraps go to landfill, they don't get any oxygen, and so they don't properly break down. Instead, they release methane, which is a greenhouse gas that's around 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide. By composting, we're decreasing the amount of greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere and helping to reduce climate change. Not only that, sending food waste to the dump is costly and it's inefficient.
Waste is New York City's biggest export. So we send a lot of organic matter, heavy, wet organic matter, to other states. The whole region accepts our trash as an import so that they can bury it in their own landfills. Not really the greatest system. We're burying a resource in the ground and making it impossible to use it again, creating greenhouse gases, and not to mention the crazy amount of resources that are required to transport all of that material.
Now I'm going to show you how to use this city-made compost on your houseplants. What you do is you just take a little pinch of it, a little handful, and you give it to your plant, put it on the top of the soil, and it acts as a natural fertilizer, basically like a food for your plant. It's full of nutrients and they just love it. And they don't even need that much, just a little bit on the top. And what's so cool is it's all natural, no chemicals involved. And it used to be your food, now it's feeding your plants. I mean, come on. This is One Small Step. I'm Lucy Biggers. See you guys next time. Bye. Do you compost at home and have any tips or tricks? Let us know in the comments and we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, I hope you guys found that informative. I certainly saw this video and I got so excited because it like depicted composting in such an accurate way. And it talked about so many like important topics, like the ratio of browns and greens. That's a very important part of composting because if you mess it up, it could either get too hot and then fizzle out before the composting process finishes, or if it gets not hot enough, basically there's not enough nitrogen to fool the chemical reactions that's happening in the compost, then it won't get hot enough to basically kill the germs and microbes that's in the pile. And then you can't sell it or use it on your plants. But any questions after watching this video? What do you guys think?
It was a good video.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone have any questions?
I was a little
Anyone?
confused. She had like that bag, the paper bag of compost that she bought from the city. Do they use the compost on larger scales, or is it all just like a little consumer thing that you buy in bags?
Oh yeah, like I'm not sure exactly what businesses produce what, but I know composting can be done on a larger scale. I know a lot of farms will compost their own like animal waste, like horse manure, and then they'll apply this compost in large quantities to their crops. But I'm not sure of any like big manufacturing companies that are selling it at a bigger scale though. I couldn't tell you that one. Any other questions before we move on?
And on the issue of scale, I'll just add to that that the nature of compost, people who are already doing it are very environmentally minded, so they're going to keep that within the region and use it within their region. So we won't see compost getting shipped around the country so much. It's always like within a certain state or whatnot.
Yeah, especially because they want to like reduce the emissions produced, so it makes sense for it to be local. Okay, so here are some goals for our semester, like as we begin. So one of our main goals, since we're online and we can't really visit the campus garden and collecting food scraps as a group, I think one of our goals that we should focus on is like building a social media presence on like Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. And this doesn't even have to be like, oh, someone's running the account. Like we could all contribute like one Instagram post, like every meeting or something, just something so people on campus are more engaged and they're more informed about composting. Because some people don't even know like, oh, composting's a thing. I certainly didn't before like I came to college. So I think we should educate people online where they're more apt to be. And then another goal I want us to achieve this semester is to create more informational and motivational content about composting. I think one of the most rewarding things about this club, at least for me, was that I've learned so much about composting and eco-friendly ways to like deal with food waste and such. And I just want everyone else to be able to have that chance to educate themselves on the topic. Now, you don't have to like write a paper or anything. I just think everyone should learn about it. And I think another major goal that we can achieve this semester is forging like connections with faculty and staff members. And I think like to be more specific about this topic, we can talk to dining hall staff because there's such a limited amount of people on campus right now receiving food. We could ask them to collect the like minimal scraps that they produce. And I think now would be the best time to do it because nobody's on campus. It's not going to be like as hard as if like all of us were on campus and it's just hectic all the time. So I think we could start making a project where we create an email or create like an informational, like a Zoom session one-on-one with dining hall staff and ask them, oh, can you like put scraps in this kind of container? And maybe Shane, you could collect it. Or like, I know Shane, you talked about like Kent County collecting food scraps, right? Yeah.
So I'll just jump in here. I've been in conversation, well, through email with the dining hall staff, and they're very, very shorthanded this semester, and they're reluctant to do anything that involves their staff this semester with composting. So I think the best thing we can do this semester is probably encourage people who are on campus or in town to just take their food scraps to the campus garden directly, since there is really no venue for collecting it at the dining hall. But the good news is next semester, they are pumped about being involved with us and getting food scraps from the dining hall directly to the campus garden and being used at a larger scale in Kent County that we can help facilitate. So next semester, big plans, but this semester, I think we're spot on to just keep the drumbeat going about getting people excited about this, and we'll ratchet up, in the months ahead.
Yeah, no, totally. Like this semester is more of like a planning and like informational, I feel like, semester, and next semester, when we're actually on campus, we can be more hands-on with our projects. And So when is the next meeting? So typically we would have bi-monthly meetings, so meetings every 2 weeks. And I want to ask you guys, is like this date good for everyone? I know it was a struggle just to try to find a time that would work for all of us, like officers, to find a meeting date. So what are your guys' thoughts? Is Wednesday around 5 o'clock good for you? Do you have another time you'd prefer? It's good for you, Hannah? Shane?
Are we still gonna try and do every 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you guys think it'd be more productive to do it like less. I'm also down to do it once a month because I know schedules are so hard this semester and we can do everything online, like on GroupMe. Anyone else have any thoughts?
That seems like a really
I'm
good time for me. I was just gonna say that I'm worried that I would forget. I'm just asking if you guys are gonna be, if somebody's gonna be sending reminders in the GroupMe, because I'm just, if I'm like doing other stuff, I don't want to miss it.
Oh yeah, I'll send reminders for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I have a bio lab like usually right now, but we got out early today. But I can still like do GroupMe stuff if you guys are fine with that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I wanted to know, where do we put our numbers to get put in the GroupMe?
I guess once I email everyone after this meeting, I'll ask people to send their phone numbers to me individually, and then I'll add you guys to the GroupMe.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns or suggestions?
Is there anything we can do in the meantime until next meeting to prepare for anything, or just, is there anything we should think about?
Oh yeah. So like I wanted to, our next meeting we're gonna talk more about like our specific goals and projects and how we're gonna divide them up into ways we can achieve them. So I want you guys to start, I know I listed like a few goals that I wanted to tackle this semester, but you guys can also like create your own goals, suggest your own goals. Like I'm totally down for that. I think one of the great things about this club is you can kind of do whatever you want that's related to composting. Like if you're more artistic, you can create like an illustration or some kind of media that allows you to be creative about composting. If you're more sciencey and analytical, I know Annalise, you did like a whole semester course learning about the microbes in composting. So I think other people can also take that kind of route and learn more of the science behind composting. But whatever you want to do, like just suggest it. And I think that's what I want you guys to think about in the meantime before our next meeting. Like, what are your goals out of this club and what kind of stuff you want to see happen in this club? Because I think that's one of the most important parts about being in a club. Like, you get to be involved. You're not just sitting back like, oh yeah, I'm a part of this club, but I don't really do anything. Like, I want everyone to be involved and to be proud of like what we achieve. And if you guys have any questions or suggestions for our next meeting, please let me know. Like, I'm all ears. This semester is hard to plan since everything's online. And I know it's hard to get everyone in a Zoom meeting. I know I'm tired of Zoom meetings after all my Zoom meeting classes. But I was looking into like maybe getting a Discord chat or like, I don't know. We already have a GroupMe, but I feel like not a lot of people use it and it'd be hard to collaborate on. I know Microsoft Teams is also an option, but I'm not sure how much everyone prefer that. So just let me know what you're thinking. Like, I'm all ears, you know. So this is the last slide, basically. Does anyone have any questions or already ideas that they're thinking about? Maybe we can do introductions for everyone. Everyone go around and say who they are, what their major is, and why they're interested in composting. I guess I'll start first since I'm talking already. So my name is Emily Hurley, as you guys already know. I'm a junior, so I'll graduate in 2022. And oh yeah, my major, I'm a econ major and a philosophy major with a minor in Asian studies. And the reason I chose, or the reason I'm interested in composting, it's like basically because of Annalise. She she was like eating dinner with me one time and she was talking about composting, and I was actually really intrigued because I'd never before been like the eco-friendly, like let's recycle person, even though I probably should have been. And just hearing her be so passionate about it and like explaining it got me interested. And then I was a part of like the team with Greg Farley and the entrepreneur. And through that semester, we learned so much about composting that I'm actually like totally on the bandwagon, like talking about composting every chance I get. So, and I also just think it's like a totally cool process. It's eco-friendly, it's like economically friendly. Like I don't see why as a campus we don't do it more already. But yeah, that's my story. So I'm just gonna call up people based off of like how they're ordered on my camera. So Kitri, you're up next.
Sorry, I feel like I should know where the mute button is by now, but it still takes a hot minute. So my name is Kitri. I am also class of 2022, so I'm a junior this year. I am a double English and history major with a minor in creative writing. And we have composted at my house for a couple of years now, and my grandparents used to compost for a long time before they got a little older and couldn't do it by themselves. So I've always kind of known what composting was. And then Annalise was my roommate. So then she was like, "Did you know there was a composting club?" So Annalise is two for 0. And it's also just, it was really just astonishing to me that we had a compost on campus that I didn't know about for my entire freshman year, which I feel like is ridiculous, considering it's, you know, it's something so simple to just, you know, like collect your eggshells or collect like your banana peels, something like that. And really, especially like for people that aren't part of the club, it isn't a whole lot of effort to just, you know, like throw your banana peel into a pile and then, you know, so I feel like more people on campus should know about it, and, you know, more people should be aware of where their trash goes. So.
Okay, Shane, do you want to go next?
So I graduated from Washington College in 2003 as an English major and art, business, and creative writing minor. And I now work in the Eastern Shore Food Lab, and I'm interim director of sustainability and regenerative living for the college. And I came to all this as an English major because I realized that our entire world, our human world, is composed of stories we tell each other. And over time, I started to learn environmental stories that no one was talking about. And one of those is the story of the soil food web and how the basis of all of our life is the health of the soil. Like we are literally made from the soil and built this up from there. So to me now, everything goes back to the soil. It's a crazy important thing. So I love composting. I agree wholeheartedly that Washington College ought to be doing a lot more of it, and it can be part of a cohesive zero waste initiative that the college undertakes, being that organic waste does represent 25% of all waste the college produces. So if we take that slice of the pie, that's huge. You know, we're well on our way. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I forgot to unmute myself. So Ariana, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ariana, and I'm in class of 2023, so I'm a sophomore, and I'm an art major, and I'm interested in composting because my family does it, and I want to compost the food scraps in the dining hall.
Okay, Samantha, do you want to go next? If Ariana, you're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
So hi, I'm Sam. I'm a senior history major and accounting minor. I'm the treasurer. And I originally joined this club because I didn't know what composting was at all. And since then I've learned so much and met some really cool people and got to do like hard labor, which was actually really fun, like building the compost stuff. So I'm excited to keep working with you guys.
Nice, thank you. So Jack, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I'm Jack Gimbel. I'm a sophomore. I'm a biology major.
And I really don't like waste, especially food waste. So I like composting because it's a way to remedy that and do something useful with food that would have otherwise gone in like a landfill. Also, I was really surprised to learn about the difference between anaerobic and aerobic composting. I didn't realize it made that significant a difference. Like all of the composting I've seen in my life and the small scale and like people's backyards and stuff has all been anaerobic, which I didn't realize was kind of bad compared to the alternative.
Oh yeah, like once I learned this distinction, it was kind of like mind-blowing because I know a lot of like eco-friendly people who will just throw their food waste in a pile and then not touch it, which is basically like worse. So it's not really doing much. But yeah, it's really interesting. And I'm glad you found it interesting. So Hannah, Beck, do you want to go next?
Hey guys, my name's Hannah. I'm a freshman at Washington College. I'm an undecided major and I've always been interested in composting just because I like to live more of an eco-friendly, eco-conscious lifestyle. So it's just another step that I would like to learn about.
Nice, thank you. I think Hannah McCarthy, you're up next.
I'm Hannah. I'm a sophomore, and I'm probably going to major in sociology or anthropology or both, but I haven't really decided yet. And I think the only time I only like went to one compost meeting. I think it was last semester. Like I mentioned that at the beginning. And I'm passionate about sustainable environmental, anything that's like sustainable. I just think it's important. But I recognize that I don't really know a lot about it, and I figured composting would be like a good place to start, kind of at like a micro level.
For sure, yeah. Okay, so I think Kevin, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Kevin Denise. I'm a sophomore and a environmental studies and history double major. I'm interested in compost because just in general, I'm kind of interested in all of the ways to make the campus more sustainable. And so once Ariana told me about it, I was very interested. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the scheduling work in previous semesters, but now I'm here.
Nice, thank you. I'm glad you're here. And I think, Ashley, you're next.
Hey guys, I'm Ashley. I'm a second year, but I think I'm graduating next year. I don't know. But I'm a psych major and a justice law and society minor. And I just like learning more about sustainability stuff, and I like gardening a lot. So it'd be interesting to see how I can make it better.
Nice, thank you. And I think I called on everyone, right? No, Annalise, did I call on you yet? Okay, Annalise, you're next.
Hello, I am Annalise. I am a junior now, and I'm majoring in environmental studies and anthropology with minors in French and Chesapeake Regional Studies. And I got into this whole thing because when Greg Farley started here, I was a freshman, and I was like, I have to work with this guy. He was the director of sustainability, and I was so excited that we had one. So I signed up for his composting project with like not knowing anything at all, and I got to work with Emily and a few other people that were involved at first, and I've just learned so much, and I love everything that we're like trying to do and everything that we're going to do. I'm really excited about it.
Thank you, Annalise. Me too. I'm super excited. Okay, anyone else I didn't call on? Zoom's kind of hard to see everyone. I think we got everyone. Okay, so is there any questions you guys have? I know newer members, you haven't like participated in any other like meetings or like projects. Are you guys looking forward to the projects we have now? Are you guys like, were your expectations met? Were they not met? Like, what are your expectations of the club so far?
I'm a little confused at what building a social media presence is going to look like. Like you listed YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and I don't know. I'm just like curious how that's going to go.
Okay, yeah. So when I said that, I honestly had no experience in making like a social like media presence myself. I have like Instagram and Twitter and stuff, but I think what I'm trying to emulate or do is kind of what other WAC departments or major departments have done already, and kind of connect with the people on campus and kind of highlight the members and the projects we're working on. So I think like one club who did it was like WAC Psychology Club, and they have like an Instagram dedicated to their club. And I know they made posts about like their meetings. I know they only have like 2 posts, so it's not like that extensive yet. But okay, Annalise, see you. But yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. Did you have any other ideal of what we could do as a social media presence? I also know we could like, I know Shane has worked on making videos, like educational videos about composting. So I was thinking maybe we could work on that individually, like remotely, if anyone is more into film or stuff.
Sorry, I was chewing. But I run the SEB like social media stuff. So I've been trying to like shout out clubs on there. So if somebody ends up doing that, I can like help spread the word a bit too. And also I can help with Canva. I'm like decent at using that. So if you need help making ads and that kind of stuff, I can do that too.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you. That's cool. Yeah, you'll definitely help us because I don't know what I'm doing with social media. So any other questions? Or ideals or hopeful projects, things you guys want to get out of this?
I feel like I know so little about anything related to this. Like I can't even picture what, like I can't even imagine what, like any questions or any ideas? I'm like, I have no ideas. I don't know anything. But I'm excited because you guys seem like, everybody here's so passionate. And like last meeting, you guys were really, it was really cool. That's the one where you guys brought the, oh, what was it? Like the cockroach pudding thing?
Yeah, that was
pretty cool.
Crickets.
Oh, the crickets, yeah. The crickets.
Yeah, maybe we
again.
should have a meeting where we go more in depth of like composting and everything that like me and Annalise have learned. Like I'm not saying I'm an expert, but maybe we can kind of like fill everyone in and make sure. I know we have a lot of like, I know I stole Shane's composting book last semester and I still have it. So maybe I can like scan pages and send them to people, or maybe just send articles that'll help clarify things. Because it's really hard to learn. Like at the very beginning, I was very overwhelmed with the information because there's so much of it and there's some conflicting information. But for sure, I think that can be one of our meetings, for sure.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'd love to do like a little poster or graphic or something explaining stuff about composting. I think that'd be fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I've already made a couple, but honestly, they're kind of dense and hard to read. But I do think we need to make more infographical and like educational things to like put out. So we can make that also one of our goals.
I think similar to that is that like for a bit I didn't know about the compost pile, and I think most incoming freshmen or just transfer students, they don't know about it. So I don't know if there's a way that we can like get information about compost into like orientation stuff or explore stuff so that incoming students, they, you know, that the message gets out to everyone who comes in.
Yeah, that's definitely a great ideal. I hadn't think of like putting information into orientational groups. That's really interesting. Maybe, I guess we could contact like, would that be SGA or would that be more like, I guess like administration, like the orientation?
Probably both. I know, well, both Jack and I are in the environmental committee in Student Senate, but you'd probably have to work also with some of the people who oversee orientation.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely, I'm going to make a note about that. That'll be one of our goals this semester. Thank you.
I know that most of the, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just really quick. I think Sarah Tanzit's at least helps run the orientation stuff if you need like people to talk to.
Sarah Tanzit? Okay, definitely. I'm making a note on my phone.
I'm pretty sure. I know she was involved this year, but I can't remember if she like runs it or not.
I was going to say that I know a lot of the tour groups that go through the bringing through incoming freshmen or incoming students to Washington College don't usually go by the composting pile, which is why a lot of incoming students don't know about it. It is like nicely painted, but if you don't know what that means, you think it's just a beautiful fence. So I know some of the people that have been giving tours, or at least they, last semester before everyone left, some of them were starting to realize and take their students by that way. So that's something we can stretch out to the people that are running tours, and at least request once things get back and running, request that they go by the composting pile so people know that it's there.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Now that's like a really cool goal. I'm excited about that one. Anyone else have any other questions or suggestions or thoughts they want to share?
I just saw a really cool movie I'll recommend that is available on Amazon to rent. It's called Wasted, the Story of Food Waste. And it's all about all kinds of wasted food stuff, but it does connect it really well to how we prepare food in the kitchen to how we compost food or don't compost food. And it walks through the mechanics of it all. And it's just a really fun movie. And if any of you happen to watch that and feel like it's worth screening a film like that for the campus community this semester, this like remote thing, we could try to arrange that.
Yeah, for sure. I know like when we screened Dirk the movie, that was really cool. And I think we should try to do that again, hopefully like virtually. Maybe we could use like Netflix Party or some other app to do that. But yeah, thank you, Shane. Any other topics or ideals? Any questions or feelings you guys want to share? I know I'm super excited. I can't wait to see what we do this semester. And I hope you guys are excited too. Like, I'm glad to see so many like new freshmen or just younger people who are involved, because I know early on when we were just starting out, it was really hard to get people interested, but I think we're starting to catch on to everyone. So I'm super excited. And yeah, if no one else has any questions, I'll just end the meeting now. I don't want to waste your guys' time. I know you're probably hungry.
Excited to see what difference we make in the spring.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Good seeing everyone.
Yeah, good seeing you guys.
Bye.
See you soon.